Karin, thanks for being here today with us at SI Homes.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your company and the specialized work you do with IRAs.
Right. So our company is UDirect IRA Services. And for, 16, 17 years, since 2009, that's 16 years, we've been helping people take their money from where it sits now in a retirement account, say at their previous employer or an IRA, and then transfer it or roll it over into a self-directed IRA, and then use that money to invest in alternative assets. And the reason for that is because you can't use a typical IRA to invest outside the stock market.
Yeah, which is interesting, and that's where I think this is one of the worst kept secrets, meaning that it's the worst that it's kept a secret, and because people don't realize the lateral movement or the variety they have when they go from a traditional IRA to a self-directed. And maybe you can kind of give the direct, a little more definition of what a self-directed IRA is and how it differs from that and just the powers it opens up for you.
Yeah. When we talk about an IRA, of course, what we're talking about is a traditional Roth, SEP, simple spousal inherited IRA or solo 401k, even an HSA. All these could be self-directed. So these assets or these accounts were created by the IRS. Now, with the IRA, they were created by the ERISA Act in 1975. So it's 50 years old. So it's good for everyone to know this is nothing new. But
Yeah.
when IRAs were created, you could always invest either in the stock market or in non-correlated assets, non-market correlated assets. So a self-directed IRA simply means you're taking that very same account that has the very same rules and just putting different assets in the IRA basket. So instead of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds or a CD in this one, the typical IRA, over here you're putting in syndications and you're putting in, raw land and precious metals and cryptocurrency and notes and things like this, alternative assets.
Yeah, yeah. And it's such a powerful thing. I mean, me being a real estate investor for 25 years, I felt such a so like imprisoned as a real estate investor to not use it. And a lot of people don't know, with the self-directed, you can invest into real estate assets such as short-term notes, funds and syndications, even in purchasing of real estate,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think that's what's so great about the self-directed IRA, or a lot of these assets are what the ultra rich can invest in. And that's what's great. It's the way that anybody with a self-directed IRA can invest in the same asset classes. For example, without syndications, you can't invest in, say, a big building that's going up, like a high-rise multifamily unit, even though like the average Joe couldn't get into that before. But now through syndications and through a self-directed IRA, you can do that. You can also have your IRA be a debt or equity partner into a really big deal and enjoy the same returns as the ultra wealthy.
Yeah, and for the mom and pop investors too, I know with your self-directed IRAs, you have people that purchase real estate, correct? Sometimes they'll go into a large fund or syndication, or even just a more simple piece of real estate, like a single family home or a duplex or something like that.
Yeah, and that's really our most common asset type, even for the whole industry, not just UDirect, but it's real estate or real estate related assets like a syndication, like maybe a secured note on real estate, and like you say, a single family home. All can be invested in with a self-directed IRA. Yeah.
And how difficult is it? I know this is one of the questions I get, is, oh, well, I'm so set in my traditional IRA or my Roth.
Yeah.
Karen, I know that you're in this all the time, but man, it just sounds like it would be really hard or tricky to switch now. Can you shed a little light on that?
Yeah, I can see why someone would feel that way, because maybe you don't know all the facts. And so the facts are the number one thing, and where you have the challenge is in the due diligence. It's understanding the underlying asset. That's the first thing you do. So a lot of us already understand real estate and or notes. Like, for example, I used to be in the mortgage industry. I understand notes. I get the parts, I get the repayment, I understand the ramifications. So when there are asset classes that you understand, then self-directing is really easy because it's 3 steps. You open an account, like we have a digital application on our website, super easy, takes 15 minutes. You fund the account either by moving an IRA over, it's called a transfer, or rolling over a previous employer plan. All right, so you open it, you fund it, and then you invest. You give us the documentation, the asset docs, could be a note, could be an offer to purchase, could be a subscription agreement, whatever that contract is, you give it to us. The investor isn't you. That's one thing. It's the self-directed IRA. So there's special titling that indicates that it's an IRA. So you give us those documents, we review them, fund them, and the money comes from your IRA out into the deal. And then that GP, that asset sponsor, or the tenants in your IRA owned, house rental, they're going to send the money back to your IRA. And that's how it works. And then one thing left to say is that if there are any expenses on these assets, they're paid for by the IRA. So you leave a pad of idle cash in the account to cover expenses.
Yes. And so when it's, again, for people out there that have bought, a single family home rental or something like that, and they've gone to the bank, they've qualified for the loan. If you're buying like a single family home out of your IRA is qualifying for the loan out of what's something called a non-recourse loan. That's what's required, correct? If you're going to leverage and get a mortgage loan against the property you're buying out of your IRA, it has to be non-recourse, and you don't qualify, your IRA does. Is that correct?
It is correct. And I should say that you don't always have to have a non-recourse loan to invest in real estate. You could even partner with someone if your IRA doesn't have enough money in the account. But if you take on debt, it must be non-recourse. And like you say, the loan qualifies. So like, how does it qualify, right? So what are the qualifiers? And it's really the location and condition, sure, but what is the cash flow on that asset? What will the cash flow be? Get a rental survey. What are rents going for in the area? And to take a look, compare the expenses with the payment, and is that going to cash flow? So those are things that the underwriter for the non-recourse loan is going to look like. And I should add that if anybody would like a list of non-recourse lenders, we'll provide that to you at info@udirectira.com. Email us, we'll send you the list. And it's not a list of lenders we approve or are endorsing, but it's most for convenience, for people's convenience.
No, and that's great, because these types of loans are not necessarily what your everyday mortgage lender or bank's going to do. They're a little more specialized, but it's good to hear you have a list, because obviously that's something that gives people variety and choice to get one of these types of loans. And I always encourage, it's great to shop around and to learn from these conversations you might have from the lender. I think it's important too, or this is, I always know with my IRA money, it's called patient money, right? So you're not living off this cash flow, Karin. You're again, like you said, everything that's purchased comes out of the IRA to buy the property. And then everything that's coming back in, rental cash flow from your property manager, that has to go directly into the IRA, correct? And
It does, yeah.
and you're not allowed to, and I think, and you did express this, that if there was repairs on the home, that does come out of the IRA. And I believe there's a ruling you're not supposed to do that work on your own. Tell me about that one. I know that's something that people ask me about.
It's true. There are rules. And essentially, the rules are, it's a game of keep away. I like to say it's keep away from prohibited transactions, keep things arm's length. So, just in a nutshell, prohibited transactions is number one, you can't have personal benefit from your IRA owned assets. So say your IRA does own a property, you can never stay there personally. I mean, you're not supposed to, right? And neither can your ascendants or descendants. They're not allowed. Now, this is written in the IRS tax code. So if you want to be a rule book person, look it up, please do. It's IRC, Internal Revenue Code 4975. That's where you're going to find the rules about prohibited transactions. So disallowed people, you can't benefit from the IRA. Your IRA doesn't buy an asset to one of these, you're right, from one of these people, or sell an asset to one of these people. And you also, like you mentioned, you can't, what they say, offer services to the plan. And in that case, if you're a GP and you're raising capital, your IRA will not be investing in your deal, because not only are you going to benefit personally from the profit of that deal, right? But you're also offering services to the plan by making the decisions on the deal. Now, when it's a house, right, you don't go in and swing the hammers. That's actually called an overcontribution of sweat equity. All right. Like they tax you when you die, they tax you when you sweat. So,
Yeah.
eh,
Well,
yeah.
but okay, so you can't work on the property yourself, which I don't like to do anyway. But I think again, just to remind people the advantage of an IRA, as the property grows in value, as the debt is paid down by your tenant,
Mhm,
as the rents increase, all of this is growing tax deferred, correct? So if I bought a single family,
mhm,
the values have gone up, let's say 4% on average a year, and
mhm.
where debt reductions occurring and rents are going up an average of 5% a year. All of that profit moving forward is growing at a tax deferred um, advantage, correct?
Right. And if you have a Roth account, and there's a lot to say about Roth accounts, but Roth accounts grow tax free when they meet two qualifying conditions, which is that the IRA owner is 59 and a half, and they've owned or had an IRA or Roth IRA for at least 5 years. So if you meet those criteria, the money comes out tax free for life. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. What have you seen been the biggest benefit for your clients working with the self-directed IRA, who like alternative things besides the stock market and prefer real estate? What has been kind of your biggest your take on the biggest plus you've seen for your clients?
Well, the biggest plus is a lot of our clients work in industries where perhaps, like say they work in the medical industry, and they see this medical device that's being created and they want to invest in that. Well, they can't with their regular IRA, but they can if it's structured correctly. Their IRA can invest in that medical device, for example, in that capital raise to create that. If you know somebody like your next door neighbor is going to sell a property, and or there you see some piece of property you really want and it's a screaming deal, and you don't have enough capital personally, but you did maybe have an IRA or 401k from a previous job, you roll it over, then your retirement account can invest and take that and take advantage of the fact that that's where your big, ball of cash is in retirement, and then put that into assets that you see that are going to have, like you say, this kind of awesome appreciation and equity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's one of the most powerful ways I believe to open up your choices and really put the control back into the individual investor's driver's seat. Really, I believe the self-directed gives. And again, obviously I'm the barber telling you need a haircut, but being a real estate investor, the traditionals, I felt very locked away from what I felt had the best odds of creating my best retirement, and also what I had a sphere of knowledge in. And so this is one of the best things that I have seen. And it's great every time we see, and every month we're usually getting someone else doing a property with that, and I just know the compounding effect of what comes out of this. So,
Mhm.
where can people learn more about you? Because obviously you talked about the list, which I would highly recommend, but also, people confuse this where it's such, oh, it's too big a deal. And I know once people like me that have moved it over from traditional to self-directed, it's not you're able to provide all this. So could you tell people where they could find out more about you or
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. Well, one of the things is I wrote a book this year. Here it is, The Bigger Pockets Guide to Self-Directed IRA Investing. So together with Bigger Pockets, you can find this on Amazon or the Bigger Pockets website, biggerpockets.com/SDIRA. You find the book. So it's a guidebook. It's a reference book, but then you can reach me at the info at udirectira.com, or our email address, or our website, udirectira.com. And then when you go on our website, we have a blog full of articles about things you might want to know about, things that maybe the government that, like we just had a big bill pass. How does that impact self-directed savings, things like this? So that's how you can get a hold of us, our website primarily, and also social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the regular, we're all there.
well, I would encourage everyone who's wanting to grow their investments and real estate investments tax deferred, using a thing like the self-directed IRA. I've seen it open up so many doors and
Mhm.
potentials for our current client base. I wanted to bring Karen on and be able to talk to you about this. So I appreciate this today. We'll
Yeah,
look
thank you.
forward to having many more conversations and many more transactions. But thanks for educating the community today. And we'll look forward to the next time we get to talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.